Valentine, and I love video games. Wink.
I'm the Mega Buck, and I really love video games.
I'm Rafa Boy, and I love video games.
Vinny here, and I love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This week, we have a sexy show for you.
Oh, that's the reason. Now I get it.
Thank you.
I caught on what you were doing there.
Yeah, I know. Good. We're a little
I
bit-
didn't. I
we're
did.
a
Oh,
little-
hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're talking like that. Hi.
This is my sexy voice.
This
Can confirm.
I know we're a little bit late for Valentine's Day, but this is our Valentine's Day special. We have a great show for you. We're going to be talking dating game gems, our video game hall passes, and we're going to be taking a hot steam.
funny.
But first, let's start with some news. We've got actually some pretty interesting news stories today, several of them. The first of which I'd like to cover ties right in with a thing we're passionate about here at the Game Treasure Podcast. Crunchyroll discontinues Funimation downloaded content for its clients. So let me
How about that? How
Yeah.
about that?
let me do a
Absolutely
quick
insane.
before I turn to the panelists. Let me do a quick synopsis of what I'm talking about. So Crunchyroll and Funimation did a merger. They made a big baby. They made a big papa company.
Cruncheration.
Yeah, and the technical bits of this is that Funimation's online content was promotional in nature. So I was reading an article, and apparently all these digital copies of these anime movies or series that people had, they owned them. They actually didn't own them online because they already had the physical DVDs or Blu-rays for these animes. So now that these companies have done this merger, basically Crunchyroll has said, we don't have the rights to those things. Like that's something you did with Funimation. Like we're out. So they're those
Peace.
those pieces of media are now disappearing from Crunchyroll.
Mhm.
So guys, what do you think about this?
Benny's going to fire up.
Told you so. Told you so.
That happened fast. You did less than a week.
Bam. Oh, karma. No. But seriously though, it's not the consumer's fault. And it's a bunch of legal crap.
Mhm.
You know, when it comes down to it, the reason that had to happen is because legal boundaries that could not be crossed. From a professional standpoint, I kind of deal in the some of that with work. I can understand. That doesn't make it suck any less for the consumer.
Yeah,
It
for
just
sure.
it just is what it is. But at the same time, you know, it does go back to our point, and yes, we joke about it a lot and we poke fun at it. But at the end of the day, if you can't hold it in your hand, is it really yours? Buck has said it over and over again, and he's right.
Yeah, and that's what happened in this case. Like I logged into my Crunchyroll account the other day, and it said, "Hey, do you want to, A, merge the two accounts, B, have your Funimation settings take over, or whatever the other options were?" But it doesn't have anything to do with, like I said on this here. They just said, "Look, you didn't own it to begin with. Sorry if you thought you did."
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
damn. That hurts.
Yeah.
Right.
Fans have
Yeah,
been
no,
It
that
sucks.
That
It
really
sucks.
sucks.
So fans have been griping about this Funimation digital copy thing. It's almost like people knew this was going to happen. It's finally happening, and
Yeah.
you guys were right. This is the beginning of the end, or maybe the beginning of a new beginning where people begin owning things again physically.
But like, so what happens? Everybody, this whole Xbox no physical division rumor now that they've shut stuff down and they started canceling titles that are going to GameStop and all that kind of thing because they're pushing more of the Game Pass thing. And then a couple of people are like, well, does this mean that Xbox isn't going to make consoles anymore because they're going to bring Xbox games to PlayStation and blah, blah, blah? Giant hypothetical. But what happens if Microsoft does that and starts only making them for other consoles and, gaming divisions get bought and sold? Do you then lose digital copies of your games that you own? It's a precedent that hasn't really happened yet, even though everybody's
Right.
talked about the hypothetical.
So like
Sega.
I've thought about this a
Right.
couple
Yeah,
of times, and I
exactly.
wondered like if I don't know how this necessarily works. Like, so let's say Steam went down like tomorrow, and like all the 200 and whatever games that I have on Steam.
Amateur.
Yeah, oh, yeah, right, yeah. But like all those games, like they would disappear. If I installed them onto my computer, I don't know if there's some sort of like software that they have like in the games, like files or whatever that just will make it so I can't play it anymore, or
Is
if I have
Steam
it in
just a launcher, or is yeah,
right,
or can
right.
you right?
Because I've launched games outside of Steam. Like I've launched like 7 Days to Die. If you do a mod, you want to sometimes make a copy of the game so you have the
Mhm.
modded file, and that
Mhm.
still works, but you just can't use Steam's overlay on it. And I'm wondering if
Yeah.
like you can install, but yeah, it's a
You
tricky
know,
thing.
Steam got us feeling. Steam feels good when you download a game there, right? And because
It
it's
really
usually some
does.
cool
Yeah.
indie game, and it feels like the big corporations are piggybacking on like, oh, you guys like downloading games? Oh, we could do that for you. Like, you guys like Steam? We could be Steam for you. It's a little underhanded. I don't know. We shall see.
Mm.
But let's move on to our next story that actually dovetails with that pretty pretty nicely, which is that recently Take-Two has claimed in a court case that virtual currency is fictitious.
Oh boy.
Let me elaborate on that further.
I'm not sure
I
if
had not heard
understand.
this.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is a class action lawsuit being filed on behalf of a California minor and his mother. They claim that Take-Two is guilty of stealing money because NBA 2K currency, the virtual currency, sometimes players will lose it whenever servers are switched on and off.
Oh, money that you've bought.
Right.
Like in-game currency you bought.
So
And they're like, it's not Bitcoin, kids.
So right, yeah, and so Take-Two fired back at that basically by saying, like, listen, in the license agreement, which
That you didn't read
which you
'cause you're
didn't
10.
read, yes,
Yeah.
because you're a person,
Right, yeah.
says that we are allowed to eliminate virtual currency as they wish. The lawyer said, in short, you do not own your virtual currency, even when you buy it with real money.
So this is interesting, right? Because the only like real life situation that you could possibly equate this to is like a gift card, right?
Right,
Like if you
okay.
purchased a gift card to a
Right.
restaurant or something. And what just from professional experience, what little bit I know about those gift cards is not to get too much into legalese shit, but you have to, after a certain amount of time, that goes on your balance sheet as a liability.
Mhm.
And over time, after a certain amount of years, over time, you are legally allowed to and should reduce the amount on those gift cards. You notify the customer ahead of time, but you let them know, hey, you have $100 gift card. Technically, if you don't spend it in 5 years, we will take $10 off every year until there's no more balance left on this gift card because we have to take it off of our balance sheets, like, nerdy accounting wise kind of stuff. That's the only like real world precedent I can think of that kind of equates to this.
Yeah, because they collect money for, e-coins or whatever the
Mhm.
whatever the fuck they're called in NBA 2K, ball coins.
Ball bags. You buy ball
And
bags.
So
Sports ball money.
they collect
Sports
that
ball
revenue,
money.
and then
That's
in
funny.
their books, it's
Mm.
under the line bullshit, or like what is it? It's like
It basically
We
is
can-
online bullshit.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Buck really explained it quite well. It's you can't have an indeterminate liability on a business balance sheet
Right.
and it make logical accounting sense.
Right.
I know for those of us who aren't in that world, that may be a little bit of a new concept, but that is unfortunately the end result on the consumer's end.
Yeah.
It again, it doesn't make it suck any less for the
Right.
consumer, but you have to remember that these things are businesses and they
Yeah,
have
right.
protections too. It is what it is.
So to that I say, touche, lawyers at 2K. Bravo. Excellent point made. Yeah. Checkmate. Very good, sir.
Honestly, for
Swoosh.
me, like this is reason 3,947 as to why I hate microtransactions in general. Like,
That's like a tweet I think I've seen online or something like
Raph
that.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, hold on. Court case. I want to get the phrasing. of what this guy said. It's actually pretty interesting.
Now that I mentioned microtransactions, we were talking about Power World last week. I will say there's one thing I do like about that game is that I haven't seen a single microtransaction.
They'll
on
get
offer.
there.
Yeah.
They'll get
They're
there, right? Yeah,
respectable.
yeah, eventually, right? Yeah.
All right, so here's the quote from Take-Two's lawyers. VC, virtual currency, is not the plaintiff's property. Instead, in-game virtual currencies are fictions created by game publishers, subject to the publisher's terms of service and user agreements.
Yeah.
So it's not
Fuck
currency.
you. You're gonna buy it anyway.
They're not wrong.
They're
Yeah.
fictions.
just dicks.
I love that wording. It's a
I
fiction.
like that. They're
It's
not
not
wrong.
currency.
They're just dicks.
They're little fictions that you
Yeah.
can get a bag and you can
Like-
put all your fictions in a bag.
You know
and
how,
you can
like-
use that for the skin you like.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying.
That
You
is
know-
what they're saying.
You know
Also,
how
you
like
don't own that skin.
you know how
No.
Right.
poems
It's
are
true.
little tiny
Yeah.
stories. These are like that. They're like little tiny poems.
Would you like to trade multiple lines of your poem for a full-size poem? You
Yeah.
need 10 poem lines.
For a
to-
short story.
a
All
short
right,
story.
let's move on to our next news story, which is Disney and Epic Games announce a games and entertainment universe.
Love it.
Oh my God. Buck
this thing
showed me
looks-
the video clip on that last night. I'm sure you're going to play it for us, Mac. Holy
Yeah, I haven't seen
smokes.
that yet.
1.5
Impressive.
billion with a B dollars.
It is.
They bought
I
in.
told Buck this. Wow, that's not for me, but that is impressive as hell. Wow.
This marks Disney's biggest leap into the gaming market, I guess. So what this is like, it's kind of hard to explain, but it seems like they're going like, can we do the metaverse?
Yeah,
And
it's
then,
Fortnite-verse.
one of their lawyers said, "Oh well, Fortnite's doing the metaverse," and they said, "Can we pay Fortnite to have the metaverse be in Disney?" And they said, "Yes, we can."
Yeah.
So
they
they
bought
paid
into that.
$1.5 billion to
So they
team
own
up
a
with
part of
Fortnite.
Epic Games now, right? Well, they
Yes,
bought into the
they
company.
bought a market share.
Massive stake in Epic Games.
Yes, and
This is
so
wild.
it is.
Isn't it though?
If
Yeah,
you watch
I'm
the
watching the video.
trailer, which ends with "coming soonish," it's basically just an image and an idea, and the idea is like they want to create a place that you go to, like how people go to concerts in Fortnite, to interact with Disney IP.
Right.
Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I think they just went, oh, these guys have already like mastered this.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It all happens in the Oasis.
Do we
know.
need to
so-
come? Yeah.
It's so funny to me because the CEO of Epic Games has been pretty vocal on like I almost said Twitter, on X, but
Whatever. No one's ever gonna call it that.
on fucking Twitter. But he's been very vocal on Twitter about Steam's basic. I mean, it's true. They do have a monopoly on online gaming. Like they have the biggest online storefront for games in the world. But it's funny how like he's been so against this, and he kind of they signed up with the biggest entertainment monopoly around right now, which is Disney. They own
Right.
just about everything.
He's gonna cry all the way to the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Amen.
He's just saying, no, we want to start our own monopoly.
How many
Right.
zeros?
I got
How many zeros? Yeah.
I got an article from the Nerdist.com here that says this is a quote from someone at Disney. The new persistent universe allows consumers to engage with characters from across the Walt Disney Company's vast library of IP. Players will create their own stories and experiences and share content with each other. An Unreal Engine will be powering all of this.
Wow.
So they will probably look nice on top of being crazy, ridiculously huge and stupid.
Well, that's
It
what the
really
new
is
Fortnite's built
something.
on, the new Unreal Engine, right?
And it
Yeah,
looks
correct.
Unreal
nice,
Engine
I ain't gonna lie.
5. It looks really good, honestly.
Yeah, it's all I can think of in my head is like when we were kids, Disney was everything to a lot of us,
Yeah.
especially us that lived here in Orlando and whatnot too. But like, there was like one or two Disney movies every year, and all the VHS tapes you had of kids and all that kind of stuff too. Like it very much so enamored us, and so it's almost like Disney went, "What enamors kids these days? What are the kids into?" And
Games.
They're into
bought-
their Fortnites. They
but not
collect all
just
the
but not just
Fortnites.
games. Like exactly, they just sit on.
Literally.
Sometimes they just sit on it for hours in the lobby, showing off skins to each other, or going into build and play like sandbox modes, and they don't even. They're just hanging around doing that.
Don't even do
Yep.
the battle royale. You just
Yeah.
sit there and play.
A lot of their skins are
do.
already in Fortnite.
I have
Yes.
watched
Like the
Star
stream-
Wars, everything
I have
else, yeah.
watched streamer friends literally just hang out in lobbies and
Yeah.
chill with their bros and
Yeah.
just hang out, and it's like that's just how it is. It's just the norm, and it's crazy, and it makes a lot of sense though. We're so online now. We're so connected whenever we want to be, and you know that whole Ready Player One Oasis mentality of, hey, look, everything happens here. So just come here. Everything happens here. This is the hub for everything. That's where they're going, and it's on purpose. And it's quite interesting to watch the growth of this. Yeah, fascinating stuff. Honestly,
$1.5 billion.
Yeah.
That is crazy. All right.
Wait, damn.
Yeah, with a B.
Yeah, with a B.
And then we have
Capital
two last little mini stories that we have to get through kind of quickly here. I'm just going to graze over
Okay.
these things, but I thought they were worth noting. First one is From Software parent company acquires Octopath Traveler developer. So the company Kodakawa Corporation has acquired the company Acquire,
Their name is Acquire.
which makes Octopath
With an A.
Traveler. I just thought this was cool because I didn't realize that Octopath Traveler wasn't owned by Nintendo already.
No,
the people that
Square,
make that game.
Square
Enix.
Enix.
Square,
Square Enix.
the
Yeah.
publisher
They had a hand in
of
it.
Octopath Traveler. And so it just kind of, for me, it's like, oh, well, at least this company's got a home now.
I just think it's super cool because Acquire, I didn't even know they were involved in the Octopath Traveler games. Their first two games were Tenchu and Tenchu 2 for the PS1. Like, how cool is
Very
that?
fun.
isn't that
memories
wild?
of
I didn't know
playing
that till
Tenchu.
you
Yeah,
told
I
me.
had
Yeah.
no idea.
And then secondly, just real quick, the Dune popcorn bucket. Just putting it out there.
It
I
begs
think
to be spoken
I
of.
think that laugh means that everyone has seen it. It looks like a
I'm sure it's on screen
You
right
should-
It
now.
looks
Yeah,
like a
you really
giant.
should just-
It looks like a giant asshole that you pull popcorn out of, and
Gaping.
What was
looks like
the
a
joke
gaping
that,
rhinoceros sphincter.
I
Dude,
saw like on TV yesterday. I don't even remember what it was on, but just like it's a great way to get butter up to your elbow. Like just
Yeah.
like trying to reach in there and just getting that butter right all the way up there.
It's totally stupid, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it cost like $30 or something. It's like fucking
Probably. I
It's
still
like-
am upset I missed out on the D20 one from the Dungeons and
the
Dragons.
size of a fucking Tonka truck.
It's gonna be an Urban Dictionary slang for some kind of sexual thing in about a month. Mark my words.
I gave her the Dune bucket.
No, she gave me the Dune bucket.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of giving someone the Dune bucket, let's move on to our first segment.
Whoa.
All right, and we're back. And guys, I don't know how to tee this up any better than just saying we have a special guest today on the podcast.
Oh man,
He's
no way.
he's sitting in the lobby. We're gonna have our producer bring him in right now.
My lords, my ladies, I now present to you
Oh,
the
man.
king of video games.
He's back. Oh my
King!
Hello, hello, game Twitter crew. It is I,
Hi,
the
King.
king of video games.
Hi, King of Video
Hi,
Games.
King.
Hi, King.
Hey,
And I
King.
come to you beseeching a request.
Anything,
I am in need of more game gems.
of course, my liege.
You see, the kingdom of video games is lonely.
Oh,
Oh, it has been so long since I
no.
found a special someone to have dinner with or go see a movie with. Please, Game Treasure Crew, bring us some dating game gems that we may find romance again. Thank you.
you're welcome, King.
You got it, Your
Bye,
Majesty.
King of
You can
Video
count on us.
Games.
No one deserves to be alone, especially the king of video games. Let's give him these gems.
Hell no.
We,
All
we've
right.
got to help him. We've got to help him.
Well, you heard him, guys. Dating game gems. I'll go first. King of video games, I bequeath to thee my dating game gem. This week I played Boyfriend Dungeon.
Hell yeah.
Did you
Now,
now?
I did. Now, Boyfriend Dungeon was released in August 11th, 2021. Published and developed by Kit Fox Games. It's another one of those. I'm pretty sure it's just like one
nice.
person or something. Small team. Boyfriend Dungeon is pretty dope. I played it on Steam, but I believe it's on Switch as well. It has a, I believe, overwhelmingly positive or very positive overall review on Steam. The elevator pitch is that it's half dating sim, half like dungeon crawler.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I really, if I had to sort of say, it's like Hades, really a lot. There's it's dungeon diving in that sort of like there's like a isometric view, and there's lots of enemies on screen all at once, and you're sort of rolling and attacking as quick as possible, and you get like power ups inside of the dungeon.
Oh,
Of course, it's not actually a dungeon. So you
It's actually
what
a
happened
Doom
is
popcorn
you're
bucket.
yeah. Oh no,
The
help! I'm stuck in the
screenshots
Doom
look
popcorn
pretty
bucket.
cool.
Yeah, it's,
Here's my clip for the week.
So yeah. So the premise of this game is that you're like a young kid who's come back to his hometown after his like summer break in college or something like that, and you're hanging out with your cousin, and you've never gone on a date in your life, and so your cousin's trying to hook you up with people to date. And so over the length of the game, you get introduced to these different guys and girls and even a dog that you can date. And the catch to that is that they all also turn into weapons.
Oh, fun.
And then you
Awesome.
use those weapons to go into the
So
Jun.
animu.
Yeah, I know. It actually the art
Very,
style's
yeah.
got this cool anime look too. But you go into the town dungeon, which they all shortened to just Jun. It's like DJUN, which is
my
it's
God.
not actually a dungeon. Instead, one of the characters says, "No, it's a place filled with so many negative emotions that it spawns monsters and demons."
I like that.
Dot dot dot.
Cool.
That's
High
cool.
school?
Yeah, I
It-
like that a lot.
It's the mall.
Yes.
I love that.
And
now.
so
Oh, man.
it's an
Perfect.
excuse to have this multi-level dungeon that's separated by escalators, and you just go into like there's like the main areas of a mall, but then there's like little shops and stuff
Wow.
that are like mini rooms. So unlike Hades, it's not like one room, clear it, and then pick another room, clear it. It's floors. It reminds me a lot of like pretty much any Atlas RPG. So like demon summoners.
I was just gonna
or-
say Persona. What?
yes.
I like that.
And so you've got this sort of like top down, and then you can tilt it to be 3D map, and you explore the levels of the mall. And different areas will be like some stores are like a challenge room where like a bunch of enemies suddenly appear and you have to defeat them all at once. And then like some rooms are treasure rooms, and then some rooms are some rooms have just interactive areas where you can chill with your boyfriend sword and do little like social interactions to try to increase your relationship with them, because that is how you level up the weapons as well. So when I played for 2 hours about, and I think I'm going to keep playing. Actually, I was like, maybe I should. No, this game's actually pretty fun. But I have 3 suitors. I have a rapier, a scimitar, and a dagger, and they all have different like main and alternate attacks that they can do in the dungeon. And then as you level up, they get more skills. Like the dagger makes it to where when you roll, enemies around you will become confused. The rapier has a counter ability instead of a hard attack, and the sweeping one does like a really big slashing effect. And I think there's several more girlfriend, boyfriend, sword weapons in the
The
game.
Buster Sword does reverse cowgirl, and what it?
Clip it.
Oh my!
But there's a lot to this game, man. There's in the dungeon, there's items that you can collect and do crafting with, and mostly you craft gifts that you can give to your suitors. Like I said, either in those places at the mall or when you go on dates with them. And I gotta say, I don't really play these dating games because I feel like they're kind of corny. But this one's writing was really sweet. It was not.
That's cool.
It was very it sounds like a derogatory. I'm not trying, but it was very aware of the sensitivities that people have nowadays. You know what I'm saying? It was,
Mhm.
and it's very open. And there
Mm.
was like, I'm playing the game, and the first two gentlemen that meet you are very sexually aggressive, and I was just like, whoa, pump the brakes, guys. Maybe we could just go to the mall or something and hang out.
Back it up, boys. Buy me dinner
And
first.
then, but I was just like, like, there are prompts that are varying levels of how much you respect yourself. I guess, you know what I mean? You can, when they say like, hey, you got a hot body, you can say like, that's fucked up. Don't say that. Like, which I just did. Like, 'cause I was
Dang.
like, yeah, like you can be a person who just like really speaks their mind, I guess, if you wanted to, which is cool. I liked it.
fun.
I thought it was really cool. And my last thing I want to say about the writing is that you have a phone in the game that's very similar to Grand Theft Auto or something. So you get text messages from your suitors, and they'll offer to go on dates, and you have to respond back to their texts. And you also get texts from your mom. And because you're like on break from college, so you're away, you're in your hometown or whatever, she's not there. And it's really sweet. Like the tone of the mom texts are on point. I was really like hearing our mom's voice in these texts. Like it's like the response you have to give her like yes mom, or like it's either yes mom or okay mom, like because she's just worried about you, and she's texting, I heard you went on a date, I hope they're treating you right. It's like,
that's
oh
cute.
mom.
That's pretty cute.
You're right. It is your mom.
Yeah, and she's such a sweet lady. But yeah, Boyfriend Dungeon, it's on Steam for like $10 or less, I believe. It was really cool. If you don't like dating games, but maybe you want to give one a try, I guess this one was really nice for me as like an entry level point. And in case anyone's wondering, I'm pursuing Valeria, the female dagger. She's very cute and shy and sweet and funny, and I like
And
that.
she's a dagger.
And
Yeah.
funny. Better be careful. She might stab you in the back.
She literally makes that pun immediately. In
Ah,
the game.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
fun.
man.
It's got
That's
some
because I'm a
cute
writer
writing.
for that game. I didn't tell you.
The game is fully voice acted.
I believe
Also,
it.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
should mention.
Oh, that's
and the
cool.
voice acting is pretty good. The voice
Usually
acting
these
is-
games don't have like full voice acting. It's
No.
all text based.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's cute. I like it.
I can't wait for Buck to tell us about his.
Yeah,
So I know
Buck.
what it is.
What is your
Oh.
offering to the king of games?
I did not disappoint the king of games nor you, Mac, because they're definitely two different people.
We were in two. He was on the video, and I'm here.
I know.
is
It's
what
like
I'm saying.
Batman.
here.
It's
He was
impossible.
here.
So
How
you
could-
have
yeah.
to be
He was here the whole time.
right.
I'm
saw
right
it, yeah.
here. Is what I'm
Bruce
saying.
Wayne and
I'm
Batman,
here
and
in
it's
this
not
room.
Dick Grayson.
That was the
dressed
king
up.
of video games in that room.
Can confirm.
I played Little Goody Two Shoes.
Excuse me.
I played an
Little
actual
Goody Two
dating sim game. I
Oh.
Google searched dating sims for people who hate dating sims, and this was one of the top ones that came up. You guys can watch that there.
Okay.
This game is a dating life sim
Oh.
horror RPG.
Oh, I
Yes,
like
it is.
it.
It gives me serious. I'm about halfway through it. I actually played it quite a bit this week. It gave me serious corpse party vibes. Have you guys ever played those for like the DS and the PC and those
Whoa,
two?
This looks cool.
You play as this little girl who is in this dead end village who is just tired of being poor, basically, and says, I want more. I want riches. I want to have maids. I want to live in a castle. I want to be all these kind of things, everything else. And then, next thing you know, she wakes up and there's this other little girl in her little barn shed area out back who ends up letting her live with her. And everybody in town thinks she's a witch, because she probably is. And every day you go around doing your mundane tasks. You do jobs, which are really fun. They're like little arcade games. They're like
Yeah.
arcade mini games. They're super
That was
cool.
so
They look
cool.
cute
That
as
was so
hell.
cool watching you.
You have to talk to the girls and go dates on with them. And you get little
go
hearts.
dates on with them. Buck's nervous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your girls, their girls. It's fun. But you get little hearts every time you do something fun with them. But then every night, the day plays out in like 6 stages every day. You have to manage your hearts and your bread, which is like your stamina. You have to do jobs to keep those up. Otherwise, you just die. You just lose. But at night, every night, the 6th stage of every day is the witch hour. And it flips on its fucking head and becomes like weird, grotesque, horror, platform puzzle areas. Like you see, if you're watching the trailer, you see that giant fucking horse carriage thing that chased me through a nightmare on like the 4th night that it had run from. Benny watched me play that on Discord, and it was just like, dude, watch this. And when you die, like the animation for you dying
death sequence is
it's
awesome.
like this super 90s anime terrifying thing.
Oh.
It just totally flips on its head. And all throughout the daytime, weird undertones are happening. By like the 3rd or 4th day, there's like crows everywhere in town, and no one knows where they came from. Right after you had a nightmare about crows and you had to go through this whole thing, there's a night when like all of these moth demon things chase you. And I literally had to weave my way through this whole dungeon doing a little puzzle. And at the end, they chase you all the way back to the entrance. Like you have to physically on your keyboard run back to the entrance and out of the cave, or they will like hit you over and over again and kill you. And you have to start. Man, it is.
I knew you'd find something to play.
It was
I knew you'd find
it's
something.
a trip, man. And I'm probably going to finish it. It's not a super long game, like 10 hours.
Goody two shoes.
Little goody
That
two
looks
shoes.
super cool.
It was made by a dev called Astral Shift, but it was published by Square Enix.
No
Shut the fuck
way.
up.
Yeah.
No way.
I had to check
You played
3
this on
times.
Steam?
I did, and I had to check 3 times that this was not originally like a DS game.
No, it's
it just
Square
screamed.
Anus.
Yeah.
Not Square
Oh, that
Anus.
explains
it.
I want a physical of this game so bad now.
This looks really gorgeous. Like,
does.
the pixel art is really
Yes.
good.
It's
And it
very
switches
of
from
the
that-
Mana series.
And it switches from that to like very 80s, 90s anime aesthetic. Very much so that already there's been 2 intermissions where there's been a storytelling segment with all like 90s anime to an original song all in Japanese. Like
These-
it's super beautiful.
These
Nice.
cutscenes look good.
Yes.
They're like
Yeah.
they're I don't know if
Yeah.
they're cutscenes, but they look like fully drawn
Little
out.
bit of both.
Like
One's the
beautiful.
intro, one's like one of the intermissions, like after like day 2 or something. Like they want to give you the origin of the witch character chick, and so they do it in like song form, like Japanese anime opening song form.
That was haunting, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I watched you do that.
Because by the end of it, it's pretty messed up too. But like literally, the whole premise now is like, well, you want to be rich at this, yes. So then you need to impress him. What are you talking about? Oh, you already have the testament to him. You're wearing the ruby red slippers, and now you must get the flesh and the this and the that. Like
No
this all gets
slave.
this all gets presented to you in a cutscene where your own head is in a wicker basket explaining to you
Cool.
what you have to do to please him. Like, what
Wow.
the fuck?
That's sick. All right. Raph, you got to follow that bad boy. What
Sorry.
have you got for game gems for the king? That's a big old ruby.
That's a
for
big
the
one.
king
That
of
was a
video
good one. That
games,
was a
I
good
tell you
one.
what.
Well, I went with a little game called Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yay.
So you also played a horror dating
Yay.
sim.
I did, and I believe
Doki
the
Doki.
synopsis for this game speaks for itself. It says, "The Literature Club is full of cute girls. Will you write your way into their hearts? This game is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed."
That's the description for that game.
Bro,
That is
the-
actually the actual description for it there.
The musical theme to that game will forever live rent free in my head. It
Oh
is
no,
so
it
catchy.
is going to. I
So
mean, well, then
catchy.
honestly, like, did you finish it? Have you guys ever played it or
Try to
I
give a,
finished it.
if you would,
Yeah,
try
okay.
to give a
I have not yet.
Try to give a synopsis.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
don't want
Yeah.
to give away too much just in case, because I think it is definitely an experience worth having, especially with headphones in. But yeah, so you are a guy who lives next door to this girl, Sayori. She's a childhood friend, and she is part of the literature club at school. You walk to school with her, and I don't remember because I played the beginning of this game a while back, and then I played the second half of it for this. I finished it, on this playthrough. Rather, I got one of the endings because there's many endings apparently. But you are somehow like talked into getting into the literature club where there is these 3 other girls that are there. It's Yuri, Natsuke, I think is what her name was, Sayori, and then
What's your name, honey? It doesn't matter.
Monica, who is the probably the most important character in the game. But yeah, you do these little like mini games where you write poetry to each other, and the way that you do it is that you pick out of like a list of words, you pick 20 words that you're going to use in the poem. And you show it to the different girls, and depending on who you're trying to romance, you have to pick certain words. Like Yuri's words are typically more melancholic, or they're bigger words. They're more like I guess what you call like gold star words, I suppose. Like she's more into literature, and she's more into like kind of like fantasy worlds and things like that. Natsuke is more into like things like manga and like things that are very bubbly. Like she loves like flowers and puppies and kittens and stuff like that. And then I forget what words Sayori was into. She's kind of like the younger one. But yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too into the actual like stuff that goes on in there. But for the first, I want to say hour 20 minutes of this game, I was like, what the hell am I playing? And why do I care about these characters at all? It feels like a very stereotypical sort of dating sim. Like the writing, it's like, why do these girls just love this guy? There's like literally no reason for it. But about an hour and a half into 2 hours, something happens. And I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but it is dark and it is tragic. And that just starts to spiral out into the rest of the game. The game does a whole lot of really cool things with like meta narratives where almost like the game may or may not be aware of itself. You know what I mean? I think if you've talked about Inscription before, it's got a little bit of that same meta-ness to it. I feel like you might like it. So definitely give it a try.
Same thing.
Cool.
It's actually, I believe, by the way, the publisher is Team Salvato, which you'll see that logo several times while you're actually playing the game. But I believe this game in its base state is free, so you can get it on Steam for free. But yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club disturbed the hell out of me, and the ending is surprisingly sweet. That's the thing that really got to me, is the ending is actually kind of sweet, even though it's a little terrifying at the same time. But yeah, that's Doki Doki Literature Club. I highly recommend that you play it.
It's on
So on
more
my
than
list.
It's like on everything, right?
It's
Or
on all
am
the
I-
consoles.
Yeah,
It's like
it's on all the
5-year-old game.
consoles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on
yeah.
everything.
You get it
on
Switch,
on
PS4,
Steam it's
PS5.
free. So and it's honestly keyboard and mouse. I
Boom, get
literally
it.
just played it with just my mouse.
Yeah.
You don't have
Yeah.
to use your keyboard really for
Because there's a
anything.
plus version with like more content. And stuff.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like an hour's more of content. It's only like
Right.
a 5-hour game, right?
I beat it in 2.5 hours, but
Yeah.
I think most playthroughs are about 4 hours, 4.5, depending on whether or not you get multiple endings, or
you read
whether or not.
quickly?
What's that? Oh, if you
If you
read
read
quickly,
quickly,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm a fairly fast reader, so I was able to get through the base game in like under 3 hours.
Nice.
But yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club.
Oh yeah,
Play it. It's cool.
excellent gem.
Interesting. I
Excellent.
didn't
Leave
know
it to us to bring you disturbed
I know,
dating
yeah,
sims.
yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, I had to stick with the horror theme. I'm the horror guy. I love horror games. So.
I got you.
How about that? I didn't know it was on the consoles. How
Oh
does
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I have no
Anyway,
idea. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that because there's certain
Yeah.
aspects that really only work on a
Spoilers.
computer.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Very neat.
Venny, you're up. What gems have you brought for the king of video games?
King of Games, I submit to you the only game franchise you will need for all your dating and love needs, and that is Yakuza. That is
Attaboy.
Yakuza. King of Games, you must check out Yakuza if you haven't. It's very accessible. And I'm not talking about Yakuza or Yakuza 2 or I'm talking about any Yakuza game that you please. And King of Games, it is 69% off. I don't know why they chose 69, but if you look at
You know
Steam
why they chose
right
69,
now,
sir.
the whole Yakuza collection is heavily discounted, and Part 7, Like a Dragon, is 80% off right
You're
now.
the dragon.
Oh yeah,
Holy
trust me, I
Games.
know.
You're the
I
dragon.
just picked it up.
We have so many
We
friends.
have like 3 friends that picked up Like a Dragon this
Yeah.
week. I'm
Oh,
so
I
happy.
love it.
Yeah,
I'm
I just
so
bought it,
happy.
yeah.
I want all of
Oh,
you to
I
get
love
into Yakuza.
I am.
But
I'm sorry.
I'm with you, bro. But very specifically, King of Games, the reason that the Yakuza series will scratch that itch for you is because in each Yakuza game, there is a cabaret club simulator. And in some of the Yakuza game, there's a
Not even a simulator.
In some of the games, there is a cabaret club management simulator. In
Oh.
Yakuza 0, specifically, you run the cabaret club. And in the most 2 recent releases, Like a Dragon Gaiden and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, they take this whole thing a step further, and there are FMV cutscenes
Yeah.
with real ladies to spend some time with, if you please to.
When that
if-
first
if
happened-
it please you,
When that-
please you, King of Games.
When that first happened in Man Who Erased His Name, I was like, that's really good. Oh my God, that's an FMV.
That's an FMV.
Yakuza.
And in the most
Wild.
recent title, Infinite Wealth, it actually goes so far as if there is a cabaret club specifically in Infinite Wealth, I have not gotten to it yet. I'm only in chapter 6. However, there is a dating app. There's a dating app mini game that you build your dating profile and you get matched with certain girls and you can choose who to message. And the skill and panache of your messaging skills will determine whether you get the date or not. And the outcome is either a full FMV cutscene or something else. I'll leave that to you to discover.
That's so good. He's true.
A
I
Japanese
have
lady
gotten to
comes
something
to your
else.
house and jacks you up.
I have gotten to something else. Venny, you're in Hawaii. There is no cabaret. There is no hostess
I
club.
was literally saying, God, that's
There's
amazing.
just a strip club.
There is okay. I have not gotten to the strip club.
They're in Hawaii.
Just
It's
make
just
sure
for
you
building
don't-
bonds.
Just make sure you don't get popcorn bucketed, boys.
You don't want to follow that dude. Popcorn bucket.
That's for the champagne room only.
I went to Hawaii. All I got was this lousy dune bucket.
Damn. Take me back to Yokohama, please.
I think the king of video games will enjoy that. He'll have hundreds of hours to play.
King of video games. If you need Yakuza on the PlayStation, I will let you borrow a number of games. Just see your buddy Vinny. I've got you.
Love you, king of video games. All right, let's move on.
Tonight I dine on turtle soup.
All right, and we are back for our next segment for Valentine's Day. Just really briefly, I made these guys do this. I made them think of their video game hall passes. If you don't know what that is, that's that character that if they come around, you say to your significant other, "Sorry, honey, the ring's coming off." She says, "That's okay because that person's so hot." In my case, this person is hot both metaphorically and literally. She's strong. She's sassy and funny. She's Karlak.
You're gonna say Carla. I knew it. Good
Magic.
choice.
Baldur's Gate
Good
3.
choice.
Okay, I haven't
The
gotten to that one
tiefling
yet.
barbarian Karlak.
Good choice.
Nice.
Good
In
choice.
Act 1, in Act 1 you meet the character Will, who is a local warlock. He's like a local hero who is slaying demons, and he gives you this quest to find this demon named Karlak, who's very evil, and he needs to slay this entity. And then you stumble across this person, and it's this big old beefy woman. She's strong and muscly and tall, like,
She's such a sweetheart too.
and then you talk to her, and you're thinking she's gonna be a bad guy, and like the first thing that she says to you is basically that she's got like real bad heartburn. Like she's just like, ah, my chest. So she literally has this infernal engine inside of her chest. All of her side quests involve basically fixing it so that it doesn't explode inside of her. She calls you soldier, which gets me a little. Hi. Anyone who's sarcastic and fun and funny, she's always down for adventuring. She's a barbarian, which in Dungeons and Dragons basically means she just wants to punch everything, which is always good for laughs. Whenever you're like, "Hey, honey, you want to beat this guy up?" She's like, "Let's do it." And then she's, constantly giving you props that are this like, "Oh, we got to go beat this guy up." And you're like, "I love you." She's 6'2", rude as hell. No, gotta get her in the mix before she starts to smell.
Oh my god.
My name is Mud. Karlak.
My name is Mud.
I gotta say, my video game hall pass, Baldur's Gate 3, Karlak, baby, love you.
Oh yeah.
Buck.
If anybody knows Princess M, knows my wife, there's no such thing as a hall pass. I don't have one. But
Clearly
if
for
there had,
entertainment purposes.
but if they had to be one for entertainment purposes, this is definitely Rydia from Final Fantasy IV.
When she's an
Oh.
adult.
Of course, when she's an adult. She's like
course.
10 in the early part of the
Just
game.
wanted to
Jesus.
clarify, because just to clarify, there are two versions of Rydia you get in Final Fantasy IV. Explain to me why Rydia is your hall pass, sir.
I put a nice little video there you can pop up on the screen. That's the whole reason why. She's a summoner. Summoners are fucking awesome, and Final Fantasy IV is awesome, and she's powerful, and I like green. I don't know. And when you meet Rydia in Final Fantasy IV, well, like you said, you meet her. She's a child. When you meet her, she's a child, and she's in the town of Mist. and you don't know it, but you fight a mist dragon who is actually her mother's dragon. She summons the dragon, and when you kill the dragon, it kills her mom. Oops. So the first thing you do is like kill her mom, and then
Right
she
out the
tags
gate.
along with you for a little bit. But then she leaves at one point, and you don't see her for a while, and you're getting your ass kicked by the big bad, or what you think is the big bad at the time, Golbez, his dragons. And all of a sudden, this girl who's like now like 18 or 19 shows up, summons this dragon, and kicks Golbez's ass. And you realize it's Rydia. She had gone to the land of the monsters. Time progresses differently there, so she aged like 10 years while she was there and became like a full-fledged summoner and can summon other stuff too. And she becomes part of your party for pretty much the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
The original concept art for those games is very wispy to begin with, but her
Yes.
concept art is very beautiful. She's got this
Yeah.
green leotard on with this
Yeah.
vibrant green hair, and she's always depicted riding some fantastical creature because she's a summoner.
Mm-hmm.
And the area when you go to the land of
Yeah.
monsters has great music inside of it.
This
All right,
is
Raph.
hottie. Well, I am gonna go. It's funny because we've all picked fairly strong women, and I'm gonna go with one who she has heart. She will fight for you, and she can kick your ass. And she was also probably one of my first gaming crushes, and that's Tifa Lockhart.
Ooh,
Hell yeah, Raph. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, come on.
Is it
like,
hot in
come
here or
on.
is it just me?
Is there any other option? I mean, like this
Yeah.
come on, guys.
The real answer is we were all going to pick
Tifa's
Tifa.
got-
Yeah,
Tifa's yeah. Tifa is like that badass with a heart of gold, and she's so
Yeah.
gentle. She's got those motherly qualities too. It's
That's
Girl
what I'm
next
saying.
door.
Like she's just all around, just an all around great character.
Motherly qualities. This is a boob joke, I think.
There's that one like cutscene where she's basically hanging off of her boobs like on the ledge. It's very funny. But yeah, no, Tifa was just like I said, like earliest gaming crush when I was before I could understand that there are things about the opposite sex that I enjoy. But
Motherly qualities.
yeah,
Yeah.
those motherly qualities sure stand out in my mind right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the way
that's
my
gonna
mom
be,
used to punch me with red gloves.
Yes. No, it's like I said, it's like the strength of the character, and she's a fairly like well fleshed out character too. Like in that game, I mean, all the Final Fantasy games do a pretty good job of fleshing out all the characters, but yeah, Tifa just she sits in a special place in my heart. So yeah, Tifa Lockhart.
She sits in the special place in I think many people's hearts.
Many people's hearts, yeah.
Quite a
And,
bit.
and that hidden folder on your phone.
Yes. No, definitely not the controversial choice. Also, in the Parliament in Italy, because you guys heard about that when that happened? Right?
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah,
That was
that was
nuts.
wild.
Venny,
Unbelievable.
Not safe for work. Don't Google that, kids.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Don't.
Venny, who's your video game hall pass?
Just for the sake of entertainment. God, Samus.
Good choice.
Samus
Good choice.
Aran.
Strong, quiet type.
We all
Dear
like strong
Lord.
women, it looks like.
I mean, I will not elaborate further. Samus is a great choice.
We talking
was
zero
the-
suit Samus, or are we leaving all of the armor on?
I mean, she takes the helmet off. She's a cutie. I mean,
She's
what
an
do you
absolute babe.
want? She was one of the original video game cuties, in my opinion. And when you're first playing Metroid as a kid, at least back in that era when NES was the new thing and Metroid was the game that we were all playing, it was like you didn't even know Samus was a
Put
girl.
in
You
a
thought it
code
was-
and you can play as the girl.
thought it was a space soldier, and then years later we find out, oh, it's a girl. Oh my god, look at the art. She's
Yeah.
cute.
Right.
Did
And
you
then
ever
a couple
put in
years
the-
after that, you're like, okay, guys, with the fan
the Justin
service,
Bailey
let's calm
code?
down
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put in the Justin Bailey code, we all thought as kids that you were playing as a different character,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
her without the suit on.
That's funny.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
wild.
That became like a
comic.
comic book revelation in that Nintendo Power comic book kind of thing.
Right.
One
Right,
of
because a lot of people
Nintendo's
didn't realize.
only.
I didn't realize for a long
yeah.
time.
No, not when I was little.
One of
Yeah.
Nintendo's only in-house babes.
Yeah.
One
yeah.
of the very few.
What can I say?
babes out of the
What can I say?
Nintendo
Tall,
library.
cute, blonde. I have
Yeah.
a type.
And it's
What
just
if Zelda
never,
was a
never
grill?
speaks. Love that. That's my favorite thing about her. Never talks.
What?
or says
Oh, you haven't
anything.
played any of the newer ones.
Oh no.
She talky.
gross.
Oh, dude, Dread is so good.
Yeah. Oh, she talks in that one.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Dread is so good.
All right, that's it for our little side, John. I just wanted to talk about Karlach. So let's get on to our.
Did you create
Yeah,
that
we
segment just so you could talk about Karlach?
Yes.
We know.
Perfect.
Let's move on to. Let's move on to our next segment. Guys, it's time for a hot steam.
How'd that sauna do you, Mac?
I didn't put it on as good this time. Gentlemen, I feel relaxed. I feel rejuvenated. Like sitting in the spa in Stardew Valley. I feel refreshed. It's time to take a hot steam, where we bring you, the viewers, the newest and hottest upcoming games in the Steam cavalcade of video games. This week for Valentine's Day, I did it. I finally did it, y'all. I played a sex game.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, Chihuahua.
That's right, baby.
Press 1 to come.
The game that I played this week is a little ditty called Hole Dweller.
Well, looking it up now. Here we go.
I'm not going to do that to my Steam search algorithm.
You may want to. You can set your Steam library on private and download Hole
Oh
Dweller.
man, Hole
Because,
Dweller.
boy, you're in for a treat. Make sure to play it for less than 2 hours. Because
Wait,
And you
hold on.
can't
I just
return
want
it.
to say I googled Hole Dweller and I got like an album about like hobbits. So
yeah, well, yeah, no.
I think this
Hell,
is the wrong thing.
What you need to Google is Hole Dweller, developed and published by Thigh High Games.
Oh, wow. Oh, oh.
This was,
oh, wait.
Wow.
I'm
This
out.
was published in January 19th.
You played a furry porn game?
2024. This is a furry porn video game. So,
Your algorithm is fucked.
It's
Hole
done.
Dweller. This. Hold on. This thing is killing me. So where was I? Oh yeah, Hole Dweller. Hole Dweller is great. It's so good. It's a. It's not. It sucks. It's a.
Yeah.
It says it's a
basically an
sandbox incremental furry porn game. I don't know
Let
what
me
that means.
break down the
I don't.
gameplay of Hole Dweller. Hole Dweller.
Please
You
don't.
make a custom character. I, of course, made a futanari lizard, which has large breasts and a penis.
Okay, as one does.
And you are the captain of this like giant train thing that exists on this overworld map. Your train is comprised of a bunch of train cars.
Stop saying train.
Ay, ay, ay.
Your mode of transportation is comprised of a bunch of rooms. And basically the game is broken into a day and night cycle. Yes, it is. Believe it or not. Much like Persona, there at the beginning of every day, you move your train one square on this overworld map. And basically every time you move, you have a chance of collecting an item or getting a new fuck buddy. So you'll pick up other animals and then they live with you on the train. And so then it becomes you spend the morning moving one square and then you have a series of segments to do whatever you want, which mostly involves fucking all the people on the train. So you'll have like early morning, you move the train, and then you have afternoon, early evening, nighttime, and then the day ends, and you do the next day. So you get to craft items with the items that you pick up in the overworld. Notable items include the fuck permit, which allows two girls to have sex while heated. The fuzzy kiwi and banana, which gives characters pubes and armpit hair, respectively.
Oh, fun.
The prismatic smoothie, which lets you change the character's cum color. And the honey steak, which I fed to one of my followers earlier to unlock a hand job. What's the hand job, you say?
Why?
Well, it's one of the activities
Honk,
that you
honk.
can do to pass the time. which then puts you inside of the hand job mini game, which is entirely too long and horrifyingly too similar to the Stardew Valley fishing mechanic. But don't come too much in one single room. You'll have to buy a sponge to clean it up. That's right. You heard me right. There's a store on your train where you can buy items, including food and sex toys. You can also buy
A jizz mop.
You can also buy a drill, which leads me to the second main mechanic of this game, which is a Mr. Drilla which is inside of this game. So you can buy a drill in the game store and put it on the overworld map, and then you spend a day basically playing Mr. Drilla. You go down this vertically oriented series of
Doom popcorn
blocks where you unlock XP. Listen to me, you pieces of shit. You unlock XP and coins and porn stuff. And
This
then sometimes you break cubes, and inside of the cubes are enemies that you fight like Undertale.
Is
This-
it done yet?
Yeah.
You play as a
yeah.
little red dot,
I
and
hope
you
so.
move around avoiding
I hope
enemy
so.
attacks and collecting items. This game's a real treat, you guys.
Oh,
This
man,
whole segment,
looks terrible.
this whole segment needs like a giant disclaimer.
Oh, this is this is the After Dark issue of Game Treasure podcast.
Man.
Whew, Hole Dwellers, baby. You guys wanted that porn game. I played that porn game, and I returned that porn game as soon as I hit that 1 hour mark. I couldn't play it anymore. The hand job game is so long. The mini game is so. It's like you play it for like 2 minutes. It's why do they make you play it for so long? It's so long.
Oh man,
Oh my god,
Oh.
it's the worst. It's the worst.
beautiful.
All right, Buck. Were you able to relax?
None
and
of
take
us
a
can even follow that.
sexy
I don't
hot
even
steam
know,
this
like,
week
how
for
to-
Valentine's Day?
I inadvertently played another dating simulator. I had already picked up this game before, Potionomics.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys had seen this, it does have dating. It's a hybrid deck builder, commerce, alchemy game. Like you inherit your uncle's. Your uncle disappears, and you inherit his potion shop, which he did not tell you has a giant loan out on it from the Wizard Bank. So you inherit it, and you also inherit his debt.
Wizard Bank wank.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just
No,
wanted to
there's
put
no
that out there.
wanking in this. No, this is a perfectly innocent game, even though there's dating aspects. You have to bring it back from the hovel that it is. But you're inexperienced. You've gone to school. You've gone to wizard alchemy potion school, and you know how to do this stuff. You send out adventurers and make friends with adventurers that bring you back alchemy ingredients, and you use them to make healing potions and mana potions and ice buff potions and all these things. People put in requests, and then you get paid for them. But the fun part is it's also a deck builder where you put cards in your deck, and you use those cards to be a better haggler in your shop when people come to buy things. And then you can get more money for your potions to turn the cycle all over again. The dating aspect comes in where if you make friends with the different characters and adventurers and other shopkeeps, they all have different styles, and their styles turn into cards you can add to your deck. Like, stress is something that makes it so you don't make as much money on cards, and you can get armor to block you from stress. And like the walrus guy that makes furniture, his style is protect you from the armor. Whereas like the dryad chick in the forest, hers is all about like more stress management and pepping yourself up and everything like that. And so her cards will help you do those things. So depending on who you make friends with, you get access to different cards for your deck that make you a better haggler in that. And then at the end of each week, at the end of each period of time, you have to have crafted certain potions for the upcoming potion competition. That's gonna be rated by one of the local celebrity adventurers, and if you win, you get a bunch of money that you can use to pay off your debt. That's like the checkpoints of each time. But the trick is like every time the opponent you're going up against, they come into your shop and they mess with you, and they're cheating somehow when you're going into that. One of them even like is like a mobster kind of dude on this island, and he makes it so that you can't sell certain types of potions for a few days leading up to the competition. So you're like, shit, I had these potions ready and now I can't sell them. I have to make these different ones to sell to make the money to get ready for the competition. And so they sabotage you at some points during it as well too. But it's just a fun little, the way it draws all of those everybody knows card builders are fun or deck builders are fun, but the way it draws those mechanics into not a fighting aspect, but the commerce aspect of it. It was a lot of fun to play, and there is a little bit of that dating sim stuff in there too, but I didn't go too deep into that.
Nice.
Just got the cards I
It
wanted.
looks like that that game you played, Raph. What was that? Horticulture game.
Oh, Strange Horticulture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I like
yeah.
the graphics. on
The
that.
art style is super
Yeah,
fun.
this is
Xseed made it. I mean,
Oh,
who's
nice.
made a ton of other big budget stuff, but
Cool.
super fun.
Nice, Raph.
Well, so my hot steam is not necessarily even really on the hot and trending, but it was hot and trending for me, because I've tried many times to get this to work, and I finally did. But I played Enshrouded.
Good.
So Enshrouded, it's a lot like Valheim. Legitimately, kind of. I wouldn't say a Valheim ripoff. Because it has a lot of very like unique features that are not necessarily in Valheim, but it's a very, very similar style of game. You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even be able to tell you what the story is because it's got the bullshit survival game story.
Yeah.
But basically,
Nice.
you're in a world where you can build and you can do all these cool fantasy things like fighting monsters and whatnot. But the monsters all sit inside of this thing called the Shroud, which is a section of the map coated in like this fog, and that's where all the monsters are. Sometimes they'll come out of the Shroud, especially at night. But you can build a base. It's got a little bit more of like a linear progression than something like Valheim does, but it still has a lot of room to explore. It is very graphically intensive, as I stated before. Like it took me. It's usually any time that I get it working, it takes me about half an hour or so to get it working. A lot of like starts and stops where it kind of crashes because it requires a pretty powerful graphics card that I don't have. But the thing that stood out to me the most with this game, and it's something that I had wished that they had done with Valheim, was that they have a magic system. So like you can have like a full party basically. Like I have a buddy of mine who's playing a fighter, I have a buddy of mine who's the rogue, and I'm the wizard. I have a
nice.
wand, I have a staff, and it's got like a full magic system for it, based on sort of like charges that you have on your staff, and then the wands can be used kind of as much as you want. They break obviously because these games typically have a mechanic for durability with weapons. That's pretty typical with most survival games.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I don't know. I had a really good time just exploring the Shroud, exploring the map, which looks gorgeous. Even though I'm running under specs, it still looks beautiful. But it's just fun to play a big open world game like that, a fun open world action RPG that's got kind of Dark Souls combat, where I can also role play, a la D&D, wizard, wizard, fighter, thief. So yeah, that's my hot steam for the week. It's Enshrouded.
Nice. Better than Power World?
Different. It's
We don't have to
different,
get
honestly.
into that. I just wanted to.
Yeah,
I just wanted to sneak it in
yeah.
there one last time.
I can't. I could get into it, and I think Enshrouded might be just generally like a more well-made game. But Power World actually runs on my computer fully without any serious problems, so I'm probably gonna end up playing Power World more. But yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that's Enshrouded.
Nice. Benny, were you able to take a hot steam this week?
A little bit. I wanted to say, Enshrouded looks really interesting. I was watching some friends play it, and yeah, kind of curious to see where that goes.
Yeah,
but
that looks cool.
My hot steam, it didn't really fit the Valentine or the hentai theme, Max. Sorry about that, but
Nobody's brave enough.
yeah, it is what
That's
it
a word.
is. Yeah, right. There is a demo right now for Dungeonborn, which is the brand new new coat of paint, new polish, It's basically a clone of Dark and Dark,
but better.
Oh.
which is the game that had some, legal legal issues. There were some questions about assets, and the rule is, I think Buck talked about this last time. The rule on Steam is if your game is in kind of embroiled in any kind of legal issues, they will take it down from Steam. So Dark and Darker has not been available, but Dungeonborn dropped like out of nowhere, and it's essentially Dark and Darker almost to the T. It's just a lot prettier, and when I say a lot prettier, I mean a lot prettier.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Dark and Darker, that game's dead now because this game is prettier, has more classes, plays better, all kinds of fun shit that makes it a better game. But it's the exact same mechanic.
It still has the battle royale dungeon shrinking ring mechanic going on. You extract with your loot. There's permadeath for the characters, just like Dark and Darker.
Same game.
It's the exact same game.
It's the exact same game.
If you like Dark and Darker at all, check out Dungeonborn. It's pretty cool. I didn't play it for that long. I'm really big into Hunt Showdown right now. That's my extraction game. But seriously, it looks cool.
How long is the demo? Like, how much content is available in the demo?
It's just like Dark and Darker. It's the game. The game is not out yet.
Okay.
It's the whole game.
So
like everyone gets to play it for free right now because the game's not out.
I can just play the demo and I get to play the whole
just
game?
play the game.
Oh, I'm installing it right now.
You can just go play it.
It's just like Dark and Darker was.
I'm installing this right now.
It's just like Dark and Darker was. It's just the same. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
there is a
buddy,
mimic
I got you.
potion that lets you turn into a mimic.
Yeah.
Like, here comes some guys. They're going to come kill me. Bloop, chug.
Yeah.
Turn myself into a chest and hide.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, be careful because it's going to take you like 5 or 6 swings of your sword to kill that skeleton. And you don't think he's that tough. I'm warning you, that first skeleton is that tough.
Hell yeah. This is awesome. I'm going to download this right now.
15
Yeah,
minutes.
man. Yeah, we should play.
Yeah.
It's super. The classes, it's got like a cryo mage. It's got way more classes than Darker. It has a slotting system on its weapons like Diablo does.
Cool.
It in every aspect, it's better than Dark and Darker.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that game is done, unfortunately, for them.
All right, let's wrap it up, boys. For this week's What Else You Got? I was so busy playing sex games that I didn't get to play much else.
Lies.
Except, yes, I did. Because a little game called Persona 3 Reload has become the fastest selling game in Atlas history. And I'm one of the people that's playing that shit.
Is that including Game Pass or is that real sales?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't know.
Low comedy.
Either which way, I don't know if it would matter. If this is an Atlas internal record, then I presume it's the number of copies sold. People are hyped about this game, and for good reason. It's really fun. I've been playing it for the end of this month. We have our special episode where we're going to be covering, actually that's next week, where we're going to be covering Persona 3 Reload and Infinite Wealth.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man. Persona 3 Reload, they gave it the Persona 5 treatment. So I had never played it before. I'm not going to talk about it too much because obviously we'll talk about it a lot more in next week's episode. But I tried to play Persona 3 Golden, which is the PSP like version of Persona 3, and it came to Game Pass, and it was just not as. It's got this, mostly menus that you're looking at, and then talking heads come up, but Reload has got the fully acted out cutscenes with the little 3D models with blocking and you can auto scroll the text. So you just hit X button and basically watch an anime for 5 minutes, and then you move to the next room and then watch an anime for 5 minutes, and then
That's cool.
And it's been
Persona 3 Reload sold over a million copies in its first week.
There we go.
Okay. It's only been out for a week, right?
Very
Yep,
nice.
yep.
That's awesome.
That's impressive. That's
So-
fantastic.
People want it. It's dope. We're going to talk about it more next week, and I'm having lots of fun with it. But that's all I got for this week. Buck, what else you got?
Was there a Rugrats NES game? No, but there should have been. These guys, Gameland, are making an NES style Rugrats platform. It looks like Tiny Toon Adventures or Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, it
Man,
does.
this is
Whoa.
exactly what it would have looked like.
I love everything about this, and as much as limited run is kind of hot and cold with me, they're putting out a physical NES cart of this game,
Holy camole.
and I am so excited for
This
that,
looks awesome.
including an HD mode. Yeah, see, look, you look at the HD mode and you go, I don't care about that. Give me back the pixel thing. So this game comes out on Steam in later this month, in February, and yeah,
February.
and Limited Run's going to be doing an NES release of the retro only
Damn,
version,
that looks
obviously to run on
brilliant.
actual hardware.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? Like we never got a
Yeah.
Rugrats game. Why
Yeah,
didn't we
that's-
get a
that's so
Rugrats
cool.
game? It
Yeah.
was so popular.
Yep.
That's so
It
cool.
would have looked exactly like that.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been.
It's so
It would have
cool.
skirted the years, right? It might have been a Super Nintendo game, not a Nintendo game, but it
But
doesn't matter. Just up
it would
those
look
from
like
8 to
this.
6.
Yep.
Yeah, just up them to 16-bit graphics. The sprites are a little prettier,
Yep.
but not.
I love that.
Dude,
I'll
I'm
play
super
that
excited.
at your house. Raph,
Right on.
what else you got?
What else I got? So I mentioned it earlier when you were talking. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I had bought Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon. But the other game that I picked up that I'm very, very excited to play after there's a few other games I want to finish before I start this, but I'm really excited to play for the first time Final Fantasy VI. It was on sale. The
Mi
Pixel
favorita.
remaster was on sale on the Switch, and so I picked it up. And yeah, dude, I'm really excited to start this one because everyone tells me it's the best Final Fantasy game, or at least one of the best ones
Mhm.
out there. Waiting to finish 7. I want to finish Sea of Stars, and then I'm gonna hop into 6 and get this thing going. But
I love it.
Good for you, man.
I'm very,
This is your
very
first time
excited.
playing it?
Yep, yeah, first time playing Final Fantasy 6. Yeah,
Oh,
same thing
you
with
are-
Yakuza. It's my first time playing a Yakuza game.
This is going to be a great year for you.
Yeah.
Shit.
You are lucky.
I wish I could
Hell
go back in
yeah.
time and play Final Fantasy VI for the first time.
That's
Aw.
retirement gonna be lit.
Yeah,
Fucking
Buck's dementia going to be lit.
I know that's right.
hell yeah.
I'll remember
All
this
right.
the rest of my life.
That's brilliant. Venny, what else you got?
This week, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo dropped on PlayStation 5.
Mhm.
You could even pull a clip from my stream if you want, because I played the entire thing from start to finish on Twitch on Wednesday night. This was 2 days ago as we're recording this. Absolutely brilliant. You get to play as Cloud or Sephiroth. You start to
Come again?
you
It's
get to
pre
play-
Nibelheim Sephiroth, and it's Cloud and air quotes. It's Zach. It's got to be Zach. It's just Cloud thinks he was there. That whole thing.
Wow, these games I gotta play these remakes.
without getting too into it, because some people didn't play the OG.
Yeah.
It's debatable
Right, yeah.
with
Like-
what happened in the first part of 7 remake. It is debatable whether the facts we think we know about 7 from this point forward are actually going to happen.
right.
I'll leave it at that. So
Mm.
we think we know a lot about what's going to happen in Rebirth, and there's this very, very huge bombshell that drops during that phase of the game. There's a lot of talk that it may be a little different this time around. If you know what I'm
Interesting,
talking
okay.
about, then you already know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about.
Mm.
So I'm anxious to see what happens. But what I really like about 7 Remake is that no matter where you're at in the game, if you've played the original, you can understand how much they're going the extra mile to flesh certain parts of the game out that were not fleshed out before.
Mhm.
Because this whole Nibelheim, and they actually
Yeah.
pronounce it
Yeah.
Nibelheim, and that kind of threw me for a loop.
Oh,
I was
not
like, oh,
Nibelheim?
okay. No, it's not Nibelheim. It's
Oh.
Nibelheim.
Mako reactors,
Mount-
Nibelheims.
Mount
Sounds
Nibel
German.
instead of Mount Nibel.
Nibelheim.
Yeah.
Which actually Mount Nibel sounds a lot better in my opinion. However, I digress. The neat part is that whereas this phase of the game was like a 10-15 minute kind of interlude in the
Mhm.
original story, because it's Cloud telling the story of what happened.
Yeah.
This was a full 2.5-3 hour little mini story
Mhm.
segment with little story interludes. It was great. It was
It's-
so much fun.
It's before Sephiroth went nuts.
It's before Sephiroth found out
and,
who
and
he
in the
was.
original 7, you never got to see not nuts Sephiroth. So he was playing on the stream. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I fucking hate this because Sephiroth's smiling and he's cracking jokes with Cloud Zack.
He's like a
And
cool bro.
it was
being like
They
he's being
15'd him.
he's being
so
senpai.
weird. But
He's
it was
being
senpai. Yeah, but it was basically fleshing out that story of, this is what happened. He went to Nibelheim and he would locked himself in that library for a week, and then he discovered Genova and he burned the whole fucking place down and went crazy. And
Wow.
you get to see all that happen, which we
The
didn't get to.
demo ends the iconic Sephiroth turning and walking away through the fire. That's where the demo ends.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. Not gonna lie, it's
Hell
really
yeah.
cool.
I can't wait to.
magic cheese.
Nonsense Latin words.
Magic cheese. Sephiroth.
And I heard that they're going to extend the demo, that there's going to be like a demo part 2 between
He's fucking
now and
guys
release.
over at Square.
I guess they're doing the hype train up until release, because the release is only in like less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're actually going to patch in another little part of the game into the demo.
Well, I think this is the beginning of the game. From what I read, it said if you played that demo, you just get to continue from the end of the demo straight into the game.
Oh, wow.
It's not the beginning.
Okay.
But it's got to be near the beginning given where it falls in the time. So
Interesting.
yeah. It was a little non-specific, and a lot of people think that that's like the first scene of it. I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but I don't think
Could be
it is.
flash back and forth. I read something that said you'll be able to pick up from, like, you won't have to redo that part of the game.
Yes, correct. Like that 2.5-3 hour segment, I will not replay it because I've already played it. I get to skip that. I
That's
get if I
really
want
cool.
to. Yeah,
Like,
it's crazy,
love
right?
That. That's yeah.
I give or take the play style. I still wish it was true turn based, but it's pretty cool to see it, a
I
retelling
hear
of
you.
it.
I hear you.
Spoilers, we will be digging into those Final Fantasy remakes more next month. So make sure to like and subscribe in order to stay up to date with those episodes. But that does it for us today, gentlemen. Another episode down. Thank you so much for watching the Game Treasure podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube or Spotify. And you can help us out directly by giving to our Patreon at patreon.com/thegtp. Join us next week where we'll be flying to Nippon with Persona 3 and Yakuza Like a Dragon, baby.
Yes.
Let's go.
yes.
Let's go. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. And I personally would like to direct you to RetroGameTreasure.com. Owned and operated by Buck, a.k.a. the Mega Buck himself. It's a subscription service that sends you bespoke boxes of retro video games to your house every month. Every major console, from Atari 2600 to the PS4 generation. These games are tailored to your collection. You'll never get a game you can't play. You'll never get a game you don't want. You'll never get a game you already have. Go to RetroGameTreasure.com. Retro Game Treasure, obsessed with video games since 1985. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Wake